secret to a 34-year marriage?
I have a good woman. That's the bottom line. That's the truth. I have a good woman who stuck by me through thick and thin, who raised our children when I was in London or Africa somewhere, Takes a strong woman.
Today, my friends, I want to talk about long-term marriages. Now, for those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I have been married for 20 years. You also know that I've been through 2 divorces prior. Both of them never got over 4 years. And the first time I got married was at age 23, which I honestly feel that for men, that's a little bit too young. But a lot of you have been requesting for me to actually do a segment on long-term marriages and how do I do it and what is the secret to this, And so, my friends, that's what we're going to do in this segment. All right, so hold on to your seats. If you're interested in understanding what it takes to be married, I'm going to give it the best shot. And I'm going to repeat this a few more times going into this particular segment. Every single couple's marriage is different. What will work in my marriage might not work in another person's marriage. Understand that. Please understand that. But I can give you the framework. And I can basically give you the framework from a blue pill perspective. And I can give you the framework from a red pill perspective. Sometimes the blue pill works. For a lot of you guys who are red pilled, you have to understand that there are people who have accepted the blue pill and they're quite comfortable in that state. Some men, it works for them. They have just resolved to the fact that happy wife, happy life, right? So, my friends, hit that like button, please. Subscribe if you have not done so yet. Come on, man. This little act, this like button, that subscription button, you don't even have to turn on the notifications. Just hit the subscription button, okay? Because I know when you subscribe, you're going to get a lot of notifications from all of the other people that you also subscribe to, and it can be annoying. It doesn't make sense for me to tell you, turn on the notification bell. But it is important for the algorithm to understand and recognize that there are people who are interested in the channel. So that helps me a lot. So do me that little favor, okay? And of course, if you need any mentoring with your marriage, with your YouTube channel, with helping you through business, with your fitness journey, health journey, I'm here for you. I have a plethora, yes, a lot of knowledge in these areas. I've been around a while, my friends. I'm coming up in my good old 6-0. The big 6-0 is coming up very soon. I'll never tell you when my birthday is, but you'll know after it's gone. And of course, pick up one of my digital products, either the Content Creators Toolkit, start making your ebooks, your YouTube channel, your courses, whatever you feel that you need help with to create. I'm giving you a hell of a lot of information in the Content Creators Toolkit. If you find that creating content for yourself is too difficult, then pick up the Digital Vault, which has templates and ebooks and websites, and there's so many digital products up there. Yeah, you got a website that's already created for you. You just have to customize it in Canva, the free version of Canva, and you're done. Everything is created for you there, my friend. So Digital Vault is for you, okay? It even has thousands of stock videos that you can easily just put a message over the top of it, and it's yours to post. So you never have to worry about content to post online. So let's first address the video here that I just played with Denzel Washington. He said, you have to have a good woman. This is essential. That is the key ingredients to a long-term marriage. Gentlemen, if you don't have a good woman, you're screwed. Ladies, if you don't have a good man, you're screwed. So he made a general statement there. But what we need to do is dig a little further. What defines a good woman or a good man for a long-term relationship? Because you can have a good woman or a good man that is perfect to procreate with. You could have a good woman or a good man to do business with and grow together. But what constitutes a good man for a long-term marriage? That is the key. A good woman or a good man for a long-term marriage is someone who's disciplined enough, have the ability to not be selfish. I will repeat that again because this is the essential ingredient, okay? If you're going to make a burger and you want to know what the essential ingredient is, it has to be the beef. There has to be the party in the middle. Okay. If you are not someone who is selfless, meaning you will sacrifice something for the other person, you are willing to give, you're willing to compromise. If you do not have that quality at all, you're not qualified for a long-term marriage. I can assure you of that. Because the essence, the meat, the absolute important part of a long-term marriage is being able to sacrifice something that you want in order to please the other person. Please do not ever forget that. The problem we have in today's society is that the majority of the young generation are the most selfish generation we have ever created. This thing here called social media has created a generation of selfish, narcissistic, self-indulging individuals. It's all about me. I'm not happy. I'm not happy is the mantra that every single woman brings into her lexicon. Every single woman, the first thing you hear her say, I am not happy. But she's not happy with anything or anyone over a long period of time because they're selfish. Now, I'm not saying it's only women, because the response by men to the women who have actually said, I am not happy, the men have come back and said, hey, well, what about me? If you're not happy and you're willing to destroy your home, what about me and the kids? Don't you take that into consideration? If you leave, they're not happy, I'm not happy. So you see how this works? I tell my wife all the time, I'm not leaving. I will not leave you. We will come to a compromise. Do you think every day that we are supposed to wake up and be happy? Fuck no. Who the hell told you that? Who the hell told you that life is all about happiness? But let me pull that back a bit. Because what we are now seeing, we have bastardized the word happiness. We have exchanged the word happiness for pleasure. Women want continuous pleasure because we have a device that is constantly giving us dopamine hits of pleasure. Every day you swipe memes. You see your friends and you get a condensed version and a curated version of everybody else's life. All your friends are traveling this summer, for example. So you're going to see them on the beach. You're going to see them in hotels. You're going to see them in strange places. You're going to see them having fun, frolicking, right? And you're going to say, I'm missing out. I'm here with this man next to me. He just came home from work and he's hungry and I got to make food for him because we can't afford to go on vacation. That's our issue right now. This is the third summer in a row that we cannot afford to go on a vacation. Because number one, we just moved. That cost us a lot of money. I got 2 girls now who've just finished school and we now had to move to new schools. And I see an economy that's going to be in pretty bad shape coming very shortly. So I said to my wife, you know what? Let's just buckle down for another year. Let's do some staycations. Let's have some fun here. There's a lot of things that we have not explored in Dubai and around the UAE for that matter. Let's enjoy some of that locally. My 18-year-old daughter, she just finished her A-levels. She worked hard, she saved some money, and she went off to Greece, and she's now back. She had a great with 7 of her friends over there. But you know what she came back and said? She says, Zante, Greece, is ghetto. She says it's so ghetto. And I said to her, I told you many times, when you grow up in Dubai, and when you've seen what Dubai has to offer, going anywhere else makes it look really, really bad. That's the level that Dubai has. I said, you could have stayed your butt right here and enjoyed it. But she had to experience it to understand it. And that is what will make me quickly segue into this next fact about marriage. The amount of people that you hear and the women who go through divorce and then regret it in the end, they don't realize that a woman is always traveling in her head. If you cannot enjoy and be happy, the real definition of happy, being happy with yourself and being contented with what you have at all times, long-term marriage will probably feel like torture to you because a woman will always look at every single instance of discomfort as a bad thing. For some reason, it has been pushed into females' lexicon that they should be pleasured at all times. Life is a pleasurable experience. If she's at work and she has a great job, she's going to be unhappy with it eventually. Once the euphoria of it wears off, she's going to be unhappy with it. When she gets married and the honeymoon period is over and realities of life kicks in, cooking, cleaning, bills, kid bawling, cleaning, baby poop, dog poop, taking the dog out for walks, bills, taxes, high expenses, a husband with a different opinion than hers. All of these things become a burden for her. Then she will bitch and moan to her friends, and her single friends will show her how much excitement they're having because they will tell her about, oh, I went out with this guy, I went out with that guy. I got dicked on last night so bad. Oh, it's so good. I'm so sore. It's amazing. And they will tell her all these exciting things. But they will not share with her the loneliness that they experience once the guy leaves.
Nobody talks about how lonely it is to not be anybody's favorite person. I wake up every day, no messages, no calls. The only notification I get on my phone is emails. Like, I'm telling you, I have more wig companies texting me than I do actual people. And you know what I mean by actual people. So already I wake up and I don't have any messages from anybody. Cool. That's fine. Like, I'm not expecting you to message me when I wake up, but it would be nice. But then we get to real life where nobody even asks to see me. I'm like that friend where you pass by and you see and you say hi and we talk for a little bit, but then you go on to be with your other friends. I don't feel like anybody actually wants to spend time with me for real. I always feel like I don't belong anywhere. Like, I try so many different crowds and I just feel like I don't belong anywhere. And anytime I try to force myself in a certain crowd, I always end up depressed. It's sad. Sometimes I just wish I was somebody's go-to friend.
And how dirty they feel afterwards. They don't tell her these things. They won't tell her about the STD that she caught. No, they won't tell her about these things. They won't tell her about the bills that they have accumulated because they've been going out every freaking night trying to find love. And all the bills that they've accumulated because they're brunching every weekend, just searching for that ever elusive perfect guy. No. So what happens? The married woman thinks that she's missing out. So all of these pleasures, not happiness, all of these pleasures that she's hearing about externally will start to accumulate in her brain, and she will see her everyday life, her mundane life, and she will associate that and blame it on her husband and the kids and the way that her life is going right now, and she will quit her marriage. So if you don't have the discipline to distinguish the difference between being happy and pleasure, and not listen to your single friends who are constantly trying to pull you back into their misery, you will not be happy in a marriage.
Tell me about your first love.
I was still in high school when I started dating my husband. He was drop dead gorgeous. He was tall and muscular, and he was smart. I guess he's my first love, and he's been my only love. I think today some of the younger people think that they're going to go into a relationship or get married, and if they don't like it, so they'll get a divorce. It shouldn't work that way. I always said you have your ups and your downs, and if you don't have your downs, you can't go back up again. If you feel that sense of commitment, your chances of having a successful marriage are much better. You both have to take into consideration your mate's wants and needs and desires. You have to give a little and you have to take a little, and they have to give and take too.
She nailed it. She nailed it right there. These are the essential ingredients in a marriage. A give and take. And as simple as it sounds, it feels difficult for most people when they have to do it. In the moment, they feel like, but you have to practice it so often until you get to the point where, like I feel, man, when I do something for my wife, I feel good. When I do something for my two girls, and I know they appreciate it because they always show their appreciation, it makes me feel good. And my wife, she feels the same way. The give and take is essential. Second point that you got to note with her. Her first husband was her only love. Long-term marriages have a very, very slim chance of succeeding if you went through many lovers early in your lifetime. and I'm talking to the women. Men, it don't matter. Because men, for us, we don't bond with the punani when we have sex. We can have sex with a hole in the wall. We can have sex with anything. Fat, ugly, broke, whatever. We don't care because we do not bond like women do. Women, on the other hand, they go through a lot more emotional attachments with every single sexual partner.
Casual sex is the same thing as fast food. It's cheap, it's readily available, it's fill, especially when you're drunk. You're like, you know what? I could definitely go for some McDonald's right now. I had it a few weeks ago and I remember it being great. Then you get it and you're just like, this definitely looked better in the picture. And I remember this being a lot more satisfying last time. The next morning you wake up and there's just wrappers all over your bed and you're like, I need to throw these out immediately. Your whole apartment stinks like a fryer. You're like, it's not clean. I need to Febreze away.
They might say they don't. But I can assure you, those first ones, they will never forget those. They will never forget those. And if you take that into your marriage, you will always be living in the past when your sex life becomes boring. And I can assure you, if you've had a lot of lovers, within the first 3 years of monogamy with that one guy, you're going to have a problem. They used to call it the 7-year itch. That was in the past when women used to have, 3, 4 lovers. The urge to get back out on the streets and the problems would start occurring in your marriage around the 7-year time period. Now it's down to 3 years. 3 years. 3 years it takes for a woman to start to get bored with her sex life. So, my warning to you, if you're with a woman that has gone through serious whole phases, I would not advise you to marry her. I would not advise you to get involved with her for a long-term relationship. And I will come with that with a caveat. If you have been seeing that same woman for 3 to 4 years, and you know with a 99% surety that she's been monogamous to you, and she's still giving you regular sex, then there is a chance that it could survive. Listen, you cannot take life with absolutes. There is no absolutes when it comes to human behavior. It's always about probability and possibility. Is it possible that you could turn a hoe into a housewife? Yes, it's possible. Is it probable? No. That's all I'm saying. So all I'm saying to you, if you want to survive a long relationship, 20, 30, 40, 50 years until death do you part, you can't marry a hoe, my friends. Unless you guys are willing to do some whole shit together later in life. I know a gentleman who married a stripper. They've been married now for over 18 years. And they're going strong. But they do some crazy shit together. So their sex life is relatively open. Meaning they invite other sexual partners into their marriage. And it's working. It's working. They got 3 beautiful kids. But they have a secret sexual interaction. And so that's why I said, listen, there's no such thing as a marriage that fits everyone.
What's the secret on having a long-lasting marriage? My wife and I have been married for almost 30 years, and here's 3 things I've learned. 1, put your wife on a pedestal. Appreciate not only the way she looks, but her personality and intelligence as well. 2, your wife has to be your best friend. I can't think of another person I'd rather spend my time with. You have to have the right blend of chemistry and compatibility. 3, date her every day. Court her every day. Pretend like you're still trying to get her attention. For example, one of my favorite things to do is to go on evening walks with her. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, so that's some blue pill shit right there. Okay? I don't put my wife on a pedestal. I admire her. I tell her she's beautiful. I respect her. But the expression, if you put your wife on a pedestal, she will look down at you. Another great metaphor, treat your wife like a queen. She will treat you like a peasant. I could go on and on, right? The point is that once you elevate your wife above you, more than likely she will start to disrespect you. That is the red pill way of looking at life. This man is very blue pilled. If you pedestalize your wife, man, the chances of it working out well for you are slim to none. It's either that or this man loves being in the submissive position. Some men enjoy that. Some men love to be the beta in the relationship. But it's working for their marriage. If he gets great joy out of that and he's happy, who am I to freaking judge him as a red pillar? That's his thing. He enjoys it. He's happy. He's getting along with life. His wife is still there. Who are we as red pillars to judge this man if it's working for him? Exactly. We can't.
In fact, I remember when we first got married, I had just got out of the shower and I had my shoes on. He said, well, you ain't big as a bar soap. And I thought, well, he said something like that. I like to cook. Well, one of the things that we like to do, not necessarily a date night, we have a lot of date days and we have our little RV and we like to travel around, going down, get some food, or I'll make a picnic and we go down to the river and, have a picnic and just kind of ride around and do our little things. We do enjoy each other's company. Someone there in your corner. And they love you for just who you are, not what you do, not what other people think you are. And they know you, for who you are. And there's a great comfort in that, knowing that someone loves you exactly for who you are. Because he fell in love with me before I became a star. And so, somebody said, oh, how do you feel about being married to a star? He said, I don't know what. It's like, to him, I'm his star, but he doesn't relate to any of that. He doesn't care about that. Well, he's proud of me. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
That's not how he sees me, not how the public sees me.
But it backs up my theory. Red pill marriages versus blue pill marriages. I always like to say there's an in-between. Which one can work for us? Us. Not me, not her, for us. Because remember, we got to go back to the one basic point. You have to be able to sacrifice something from both sides. Because if both parties aren't working to keep the other person satisfied, I'm not using the word happy. I note that. I didn't use the word happy. Because it's not your job to make the other party happy. Bringing pleasure? Yes. Joy? Yes. But happiness can only be achieved by each of us individually.
3 years old?
Yeah.
And you 100. That's son. You got to be the prettiest 100-year-old. They've been married 82 years. So now, Miss Willie, you said that the secret to a happy marriage is being nice to each other.
Yeah.
Any other advice you have?
Just sit down and talk things over.
Talk things over?
Oh, yeah, and get a good understanding of what you're doing and where you're going.
My wife is my wife. She's not my best friend. She's my wife. I don't expect her to treat me like her best friend. I want her to have a separate outlet from me that is healthy for her. I have my best friends, my boys. We converse about deep shit. I don't want to talk to my wife about these things because I understand that it would break the harmony of our relationship. Am I keeping things away from her? No, that's not what it is. It's just that there's certain things that men do not talk to women about. You got to have a life separate from your wife. She has to have a life that's separate from me. But we have our marriage, which we make sure that we protect and preserve. We don't make other people interfere with that shit.
Where are your socks, darling?
I'm waiting for him to put that as the first question.
Is your wife bossy? Yes.
No, we are now. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, is there a secret to a good marriage?
Yes, I make the coffee for her in the morning and she makes the tea for me at night. Somebody said at some point, getting married will change your life. That was in a kind of admonishing kind of way. And I remember saying, well, I hope it will. And it has, you know, and it's continually kind of evolving. I think we're finding it more exciting the older we get. You know, we're a bit more frail and sort of incompetent about things, but we don't seem to mind that. At least I don't. I'd recommend it to anyone.
It's probably because we've lost our marbles.
Now, what you're witnessing, I love this piece, is that you're witnessing the peace and tranquility at the last stage of marriage. This is a couple who's just constantly laughing with each other, laughing at each other, laughing with each other, and they understand each other to the point where they can literally finish each other's statements. They're in perfect synchronization even when they're drinking their tea and coffee. There is a harmony that occurs after the honeymoon stage and the adjustment stages, the arguments and the crap that you go through. Then you come out on the other side of it with this. And this happened for us, I think, probably around 15 years, where we knew that this is it. It was a permanent thing. It was like, yeah, there's a feeling of peace that you get once you get into those later years. And it's hard to explain. But I felt that this video sort of captured it. And I think it's because our hormones change significantly as we get older, right? The testosterone is lower. Our testosterone rises and estrogen has a drop. And you both no longer care about the stuff that gets in the way of harmony with two people. Most of it is usually sexuality and money. They're both retired. I'm sure both of them are just living off of their social security or whatever income investments that they've made. And it's almost like, yeah, we've made it. We've made it here. This is the reward for what we have sacrificed together to get here. And this is where I hope that so many of you have to understand that this is where you should be. I mean, I had to take out some of the classical music in the background. I tried to replace it with other classical music, but it was just so beautifully put together, where it really told the story of a couple who've made it through a lot of shit. Let me play a little bit more of this.
I think the first thing that I was grateful for, that somebody wanted to marry me. Somebody thought I was marriage material. I'm married to a man that has an incredible sense of humor, and that has helped me to be lighter. I was quite a quiet, serious person before I met him. The first time I met Anthony, I felt like I'd found myself in him. That there was something that felt so at home. This was the first person that I felt I could be completely who I am and be accepted for that. So for me, that has been the biggest lesson and the biggest gift that I've received, is somebody who accepts me completely for who I am.
So perfectly said for her to come to that realization. Here's someone who accepts me for who I am. I can be me. And I feel that this occurs when you've been with someone for a long time. You know, we all pretend at the initial stage of getting together with another person. And we try to keep the mask up for as long as possible because you don't want to you don't want to chase that person away. But in doing that, in keeping the mask on, you don't understand that you're actually become the frustrating person that the other person won't like, because your partner will detect that there is something wrong. And if you're saying, no, there's nothing wrong, he knows that there's something not relaxed with you. And if you're not relaxed, they're not going to relax. So all I'm trying to say is find someone that you can relax with. Be you. I mean, really be you. Because in essence, that's the only thing that's going to take you through a long-term marriage.
Love is a funny thing. The romance stuff and infatuation, none of that is love. It never was love. Mm-hmm. Love comes 15, 20, 25 years into a relationship with somebody. And how do you get to that point where there's real intimacy and real love if one person's fawning over the other all the time. All it does is build resentment and entitlement.
See, that gentleman just pointed to the fact that it's not a good thing to put your wife on a pedestal because it does build resentment. It does build that feeling of entitlement, especially if the wife starts to take advantage of it and he realizes that he's being taken advantage of. There's no way that a man can keep giving to the person on the pedestal and the pedestal don't give back. But that's the problem with the person on the pedestal. It's harder for them to give back when they've been given so much. The person on the pedestal feels like, I'm up here. I don't have to give because I'm getting everything I want. I can't even recognize what he needs. I can't even see his feet. I'm so high up here. Can't see his needs. That's why I don't encourage men to put women on pedestals. But let's look at the young generation we have to deal with right now and why we have a problem with marriage.
Who do you think is more romantic, men or women, and why?
Women, because we just think better.
Because we romanticize our whole lives.
I feel like I'm a hopeless romantic sometimes because I come up with so many scenarios in my head about like what I want to do with my partner or like all the fun things and all the cute things, just everything in between.
Why are most romantic songs written by men about women?
That's actually a really good question. I think maybe because they feel like they fantasize a lot.
Because men are horny and sexual. They sexualize everything.
What's the most romantic thing a man can do for a woman?
Think about her in every possible way.
Effort, yeah, just communication, I guess.
What's the most romantic thing a woman can do for a man?
The same thing. Reciprocate all energy.
What does it mean to be romantic?
Reciprocate energy.
Be thoughtful in planning things that show that you love them.
I think it means to show your love, care, affection, and consideration for somebody materialistically, emotionally, and mentally.
Why is a woman's love more likely something that needs to be earned through courtship than a man's love? Why did society set things up that way?
Because women are the prize.
If men have to prove their worth to the female, how is romance not just female worship?
It is, I guess.
Because women are better than men, and they don't need to earn anything. Men need to earn everything.
Oh, the young generation is screwed. Oh, it's so freaking screwed. Because so many of them have not been taught what marriage is. They haven't seen it with their parents. Most of this young generation have only grown up in single-parent homes. And the thing is, and I'll end with this, they don't recognize the importance of this simple thing of cohabitating until it's too late, until they've hit the wall, until they're so old and so conditioned to be alone that it's literally impossible to sacrifice for another person. Remember, the absolute essential part of a marriage, that is no longer possible. Because you can get to that point where you're so far gone, you have no idea what compromise is. Because trying to survive on your own literally just means that you're looking to survive and you're going to take. It's all about you, and you're looking for someone else. And as you get older and more desperate for survival, you're going to just constantly look for someone to provide for you. And you're going to keep taking, and that other person isn't going to get shit because you're only in survival mode. And that's the problem that we're seeing with a lot of modern women now. My friends, listen, that's the best advice I can give you all for long-term marriages. I hope you enjoyed it. Like this video on the way out. And of course, book a session if you need any help with me. Okay? So until tomorrow, my friends, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.